So one of the very basic questions, like I said, is when can I begin? That definitely varies per person, but I'm seeing on average that women are not able to physically return back to running for about the first 3 to 6 months postpartum. So generally speaking, I'm not recommending back to running before the 3-month mark, if not the 4-month mark, and I'll explain why. First, running is hard. Running is hard on your body. Lots and lots and lots of load and impact as you're running. And you've just had a baby. So your body's been through a lot and it needs time to recover and recover well before it's able to tolerate those high impact exercises. And so, walking is great, strength training is great, but those high impact movements like running, generally we want to wait for about the first 3 to 4 months postpartum. So we just need to allow our bodies time to recover. We're not thinking about pregnancy and delivery as an injury to the body, but it is, and I consider it an injury to the body, even though a great injury, but it needs time to rehabilitate, just like any other injury in your body would. So we need to give our bodies that adequate time to rehabilitate before we start adding on extra load by running. Some of the signs that your body might not be ready to run could be pain. So if you have lower back, hip pain, knee pain, just with daily work, exercise, pain is an indicator that your body just may not be strong enough or quite ready for the load of running. Pelvic pain is also one of the things that I see commonly in women who run. So if you have pelvic pain of any kind, it may not be a good idea to start into a running program. Of course, if you leak urine of any kind, so if you leak even the smallest amount, even if it's rare, if you leak urine, your body is not ready yet and needs some more attention before you go into running. Other things, a heaviness or bulging sensation in your vaginal area or rectal area, or really anywhere from below. If you feel heavy down below, your body may not be able to withstand the load of running. The other thing is if you feel a bulging in the center of your belly, either standing up, so you've got a mummy tummy, or as you crunch, you see a doming or a bulging in the abdomen. That could be signs of core dysfunction, including diastasis recti. And so that is just not setting you up for success with running either. So kind of go down the list of things, postpartum, if you're feeling any of these symptoms that I've talked about, your body just may not be ready yet to withstand the load of running. So what you can do, is definitely wait a little bit. So my recommendation is at least 3 months before you go back into that load of running. But what you can do in the meantime, in these early stages of postpartum, you can be preparing yourself to run. So you can start a specific strength training program to retrain the core, including the pelvic floor muscles, and all the supportive muscles around it. So you want to be doing a strength training program to prepare yourself for running when that time comes. Getting strong is essential for a runner. Running is a high demand on the pelvic floor. It's also high demand on the core. So you want to make sure that you are good and strong to support the movement and length of time that you're running, especially if you're an endurance runner. So waiting and then strength training in the meantime are things that I recommend. And I'm talking about the woman who is freshly postpartum here, but even if you are 3 years or 6 years postpartum and you are wanting to become a runner or start into a running program, this all still applies to you. You want to make sure that you've laid an adequate foundation of strength and good core function before you get into a running program, even if you're 6 years postpartum. So this is completely appropriate for you as well. Number 2, so that was my number 1 point, is to wait about 3 to 6 months before starting into a program. Number 2, making sure you retrain your pelvic floor and core. So I've already talked about a strength training, but being very specific about how you train your core and pelvic floor is key. It's a lot of load and a lot of stretch and pressure on your abdominal wall and pelvic floor when you're pregnant. And then of course, even more through delivery, whether you've had a cesarean section or vaginal delivery, both have effects on the abdominal wall and pelvic floor. So it is key that you are retraining those muscles in these early stages before getting into a running program. so that your body is ready to take on the demands and impact of running. Everything should be working together and coordinating well from your core and your pelvic floor standpoint. So if you're not sure of how to do that, that's where pelvic physical therapy can be a huge help for you. But it's important to make sure that you're incorporating core work and pelvic floor work in your training program. Number 3 is just to be aware of prolapse. So if you have vaginal heaviness, or you actually feel a physical prolapse, or you've been diagnosed with a physical prolapse, that is something to be aware of and to take into consideration. And when you experience pelvic heaviness or prolapse, it's really important that you call and seek out training from a pelvic physical therapist. Talk to your doctor a little bit more in depth about it, how you can get in the best shape possible before you start putting more load and demand on those already compromised tissues. So it's just really important that you have the adequate treatment and support before running, if you have prolapse, before going into any running program. Okay. Number 4, strength training is key, and you may, as you are a runner or wanting to become a runner, may need more specific training for your body as a runner. So there are ways to specifically strength train runners. Brooke and myself here at Legacy have been trained in how to know that. And we look at your body as a runner and make sure that we are looking at how you move. We watch you run when you come in, those types of things. So there are specific things that you want to be doing as a runner to strength train for running. Some of the things that we usually recommend is exercises like squats, lunges, making sure that you're doing the correct core strengthening. Balance training is one of the things that we look at here too. So there's a multitude of things that you can be doing, but you need to be specifically strength training for running. The other thing is that you want to make sure that you're strength training every week. So I recommend usually about 3 times a week at minimum to be strength training so that you can prepare for running. So adequate, very specific training for runners, and then making sure that you're doing it at an appropriate frequency. Last couple of things for runners, just acknowledge that you are starting over, okay? You are beginning into a new phase of your fitness. And so even if you've been a runner all through your pregnancy, you have just had a big, beautiful, but huge change to your body. So you're not starting from square one, but you are not going to likely be able to pick up where you left off because your body's been through this amazing change. So give it the grace that it needs, to give it time to heal, and know that you're going to get back into your running with the right guidance. But you need to start off slow and not feel like you need to just go back out there and run another 5 miles at 6 weeks postpartum. So building up again back into a running routine or a training program is going to be key after you've done your strength training. I may have women usually start off, if they're, an endurance runner, I may have them start off with intervals. If you're a long distance runner, I may have you start off with shorter distances. So we adapt and change based on what the body needs. That doesn't mean you're not going to get to your goal again, but it just means that you need to take the baby steps to get there and then allow your body some grace and healing time in the process. It's not going to be the end. You're always going to get to your goal, especially if you get the right care, but you need to continue to build the endurance and the strength and tolerance to running over time. Last thing, and this is so important, and I don't think a lot of mamas give themselves the credit that they need, but our body needs more than just strength training and time. It needs sleep. It needs adequate hydration. It needs good stress management. It needs good nutrition. And so, there are other important components to getting back to running other than being strong and being able to run again. It's critical to have good sleep, good nutrition, good hydration, for your whole body to recover postpartum. And especially if you're going to put more strain through running on your body, you've got to give your body what it needs in these early phases, and just kind of lifelong, of course. But in these early phases postpartum of healing, it's really important to not forget about the importance of sleep, hydration, and adequate nutrition, and then stress management, which, is easier said than done as a new mom, or moms of multiples, let's just say that. But just make sure that you're paying attention to those things as well, because not getting adequate hydration, nutrition, and sleep can really affect your ability to get back to running again.